they report to the Homeowners Association. I remember it. I think it was here during my time.
Good evening. I will now call the City of Homestead City Council meeting to order. It's Monday, April 21st, 2008. Would everybody please stand as we have Bishop Charlie Williams from the House of God Pentecostal Church bring forth the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance with Police Explorers and Councilwoman Sierra. Please rise.
Father, in the name of Jesus of Nazareth, we come before thy throne of grace, thy throne of mercy. We come, Lord, bow our heads and humble heart. Lord, we come, Lord, before your presence, seeking you to come into the midst. Lord, you said in all our ways we must acknowledge you, and you shall direct our paths. Lord, I thank you, Lord, for being able to pray over the commission on this afternoon. Lord, we pray thy blessing upon the man of God and the men and women and men that make up the commission. Lord, that the decision that they make, Lord, for the city of Homestead, Lord, that it will be fruitful and that it will be a help to all the communities at large. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Go ahead, Councilwoman. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Mayor Bell. Here. Vice Mayor Burgess.
Present.
Councilwoman Sierra. Here. Councilman Nelson.
Here.
Councilwoman Lobos. Here. Councilman McCormick.
Here.
Councilwoman Walton. Additions, deletions, deferrals?
There's none, Mayor.
Thank you. We have a very special presentation for the entire audience tonight as well as the city. But before we do that, I wanted to introduce and announce that we have a Boy Scout with us tonight from Troop 413, Joshua Palmer. Where are you, Joshua? Welcome. We're glad that you're here. You're working on the badge tonight? Good. I hope you learn a lot. Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm also from Troop 413. I'm senior patrol leader. My name is Clayton Fisher.
Welcome, Clayton. Thank you for introducing yourself. Anybody else from 413 before I'm in trouble? Thank you very much. We now have a special presentation from the Office of Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart on how to guard our children against internet predators. And Congressman, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mayor and members of the council. I want to thank you for allowing me to do this. I've been hosting several forums across the community dealing with a very, frankly, troublesome issue, and I want to talk to you about that today. I want to thank the members of this council, the mayor, for not only allowing me and us to do this today, but particularly for your interest in this issue and for wanting to have this here today. And I want to thank all of you. This is not a fun subject, so I warn you ahead of time, it's not an issue that's going to be pleasant to hear about. But it's a very important one that I feel very strongly about. As a father, I worry about the safety of my family, even at home. Look, in the old days, Mayor, as you and I had talked, we imagined that child predators were these people in trench coats outside the school or by the parks. And we could warn our kids to stay away from strangers, to don't talk to strangers. But the reality is that now, these predators have access to our children through not only the internet, but through even some game consoles and even cell phones. They have access to our children in our very homes. And it's an issue that, again, as I said, really should scare all of us, and it scares me. And I feel that the strongest way to protect our children, frankly, is for us as parents to be better informed. As you know, too often kids, and I know it probably happens to every single one of you, kids usually know more about computers than we do. How to deal with computers, they open them up, they move things around, and we have a hard time keeping up. Well, today this is a step in hopefully changing that, particularly when it comes to protecting our children from these very dangerous predators. I have, and again I thank you, Mayor, and the Commission, I have brought some incredible experts on this issue from the Miami-Dade Police Department. They're going to educate us on how to keep our kids, our children safe within our homes from these predators. And I can tell you that this police department and these gentlemen that will speak to you today are among the best at what they do in the entire country, and we're very blessed to have them serving us here. We're going to hear from Detective Joe Cavallo. He is joined by Sergeant Brian Rafke. Both of them are with the Sexual Crimes Bureau of the Miami-Dade Police Department. Detective Cavallo has been in the Miami-Dade Police Department for 18 years. He is currently part of the Internet Crimes Against Children Squad. And Sergeant Rafke has been a police officer of the Miami-Dade Police Department for 10 years. For the past 5 years, he has worked in criminal investigation unit as a detective and a sergeant, and he recently joined the Sexual Crimes Bureau. Our goal here today is that we all leave here today as better educated parents as to how we can best protect our children from these predators. Again, I want to thank the City of Homestead, the Commission, the Council, men and women, the Mayor, who's not only a great leader, but a dear personal friend. Thank you for allowing us to do this today. Thank all of you for listening, and I warn you, this is not a fun subject matter, but I hope that we leave here today, all of us, you and me, with a little bit more information as to how we can keep our families safe. And with that, Mayor, if you will allow me to do, I would then turn over the microphone to Detective Jose Joe Cavallo with the Miami-Dade Police Department. Detective.
Thank you very much. Do you need the screen brought down for PowerPoint? It's for the TV.
I think they have it set up on the
Perfect.
monitors.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me here today to talk about this very special topic that is affecting our kids and our children on the internet. This presentation was put together by the NetSmart Workshop and the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Forces nationwide. NetSmart is an interactive educational program developed by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Hey there, my name is Clinton, and I'm the spokesman about the NetSmart Workshop, a program of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We educate, engage, and empower children to be safer online and in the real world. Every year, more and more children of all ages go online to learn, have fun, and communicate with the world. But just as the number of children online has grown, so has the danger state. To strengthen our efforts, we have partnered with the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force program, created to assist law enforcement agencies in protecting kids from people who use internet to harm them. And now, we proudly present Internet Safety for Parents and Communities. To learn more, visit netparks.org, and I'll see you online.
As a reminder, this is a really good website for parents to allow your kids to go into, because there's a lot of interactive stuff that they could do here to learn a lot of internet safety. A lot of stuff I'm talking about, you go online and see it on there. There's different areas for everybody in the community. The internet is an amazing tool that could bring a lot of information into your homes and into your fingertips. But if you learn to navigate it properly, we could accomplish a lot. These are, obviously, as everyone knows, a lot of the things we could use the internet for. And kids and the internet is accessible from any location. Your home, friends' homes, libraries, coffee shops, it's everywhere. Even Miami-Dade County now has gone to free wireless at some of the parks. They're developing a system now. I think they just came on board with 2 parks, and they're going to spread from there. One of the things that I've talked to schools and educators, and they tell me that they block places like MySpace, which is a social networking site, at the schools. I just recently sat down with a 13-year-old middle school girl, and she was telling me that they access MySpace. She had an account and they accessed that from their school library. And I sat down with her and she showed me step by step how they bypass the system at the school's libraries to access their MySpace accounts. I'm not going to tell you how she does it because I have kids in the audience here now, but they could do it, and she showed me how to do it. I knew the way to do it, but she showed me an even easier way to do it. And it's just amazing. These kids know a lot about the internet, even more than we do. I learn a lot from kids all the time. We need to help our kids in navigating the internet. We just wouldn't set our kids out there in a big metropolitan area and just let them explore on their own. So what we do by just allowing them to go on the internet by themselves, you're literally throwing them out there in a city, because the internet is a city. There's just a lot of bad places on the internet that kids could go into. And we always tell the parents to start a dialogue. One of the things I tell the parents is, what better way to get some one-on-one time with your kids than go on the internet together. Not only that, you're going to learn a lot about the internet. A lot of parents, the problems that I see is that they don't know about the internet. So the kids are on the internet and they tell them, yeah, I'm downloading music or I'm doing this or that. And they're on a chat room or they're downloading illegal stuff and just getting into all kinds of trouble. So the parents need to know what the kids are doing. They need to know the passwords to your kids' computers. They need to know their passwords to emails. You need to know all these things. You got to ask your kids all these things that you need to know. This was put together by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at the Ad Council. It's a campaign to alert families as to child exploitation on the internet.
Children were sexually solicited online. To learn what you can do to protect your kids' online life, visit cybertechline.com. Help delete online predators.
Some of the online risks that we see. The predators go to the same websites that your children go to. About a week and a half ago, I got called out in the middle of the night by a City of Miami detective who was investigating the sexual assault of an 8-year-old girl who met a stranger online. And believe it or not, when I asked, it didn't surprise me because I know about these websites. When I asked where he met her at, he met the little girl on a website called Puppy Love. And what it is, kids go on these websites, they're game sites, Disney.com, a lot of these websites have games for kids. What's going on is that a lot of these websites now have instant messaging capability. So where these bad guys going to approach our kids are going into these websites because they know that people like me are on the chat rooms looking for them. So now what they're doing is they're going to these game sites and looking for kids there. And what they do is they engage them in instant messaging conversations. They groom them over a period of time. And what this guy did on this particular website is that this particular website, I haven't explored it a lot, but you groom a puppy. And what he did is he told her he could give her a real puppy, and she, being an 8-year-old, gave him the address of her house, and he came over while the parents were away and molested her right in her backyard. And again, these predators could be male or female. The sex doesn't matter. Any age. I see a lot of teens now on there, and a lot of adults. Any profession. Unfortunately, I've arrested police officers, I've arrested firefighters. I had a case that I worked less than a year ago where I had a U.S. Marine that was stationed in Japan, and over a 6-month period developed a conversation with me. He thought I was a 13-year-old girl, and he literally flew to Miami from Japan to have arrange a meeting with me to do some very explicit stuff that he talked to me, thinking I was a 13-year-old girl over a 6-month period. And these guys are experts on grooming. These are one of the things that the parents need to talk to the kids about and see if they are. They shouldn't be on a chat room, but if they are, if they're talking to someone on an email, ask them what kind of questions. If they've spoken to anybody that they don't know, what are they asking them? Because they will groom you. They'll ask a lot of questions about your parents. When are you home? What type of work? I mean, they will groom you, and some of these relationships, these investigations could go from one day to a year. I mean, I've had that spectrum from where they want to meet me in a day to where I've had cases where we've gone over a year, close to a year, just talking back and forth. They want to see pictures. I've got a case that I was working with a doctor in California, so every profession. This public service announcement was created also by the National Center to teach girls the risk of being exploited online.
Meeting a teen girl online is actually pretty easy. You can go into any chat room and just start talking. Most of the girls are usually so insecure and desperate for
attention from older guys is totally flattering. They're so much more mature and understanding than the guys my age.
Age actually works to my advantage. They like to brag to their friends that they're dating an older guy, so I just play along and pretend I'm not interested.
She's doing the same things I am. You can talk forever and really get to know someone without worrying about looks or whatever. That's the best thing about
chatting seems unthreatening to them, so they lower their guard. After a while, I start talking about how we're soulmates and how lucky we are to have found each other.
Other people don't understand. I know what I'm doing. If you really care about each other, there's nothing wrong with me.
Meeting them is the goal. Once I get them out of their house, well, that's when things get really interesting.
Online predators know what they're doing. Do you?
And what they're doing there is the grooming, and they want to know a lot about these kids. And a lot of these kids, when I interview them and I talk to them, they want attention. And a lot of them, unfortunately, don't get it from the parents, so they're going to get it online. And these guys, they're going to buy them gifts. They're going to tell them all they want to hear, all the pretty things they want to hear, to get them to meet, because their goal is to meet these kids in person. That's what they work for. And again, they send money and gifts. I've worked a case here in Homestead. I think it's been about a little bit over a year now, where I had a girl from here from Homestead was talking to somebody in Sarasota, and what he was doing, once mom found out, she called us. I took 3 computers from the house, so what they did by then, they had established a relationship over the telephone. So he was buying her phones. He would send her to the local gas station to buy those expendable phones, and then he continued talking to her that way. So, I mean, these guys would go to any length to get to these kids. They send sexually explicit photos. I mean, some of the photographs that I've received are pretty sad. And they always, like I said, want to meet in person. And they're very patient. They have time on their hand. A lot of these guys, they come from work and just sit in the computer. I think one of the things I hate the most about my job is having to sit in front of this computer sometimes for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time talking to somebody because they just want to talk. And they will keep us there, and we want to catch them, so we just got to play along. This was basically a follow-up they did to a 2000 study where they interviewed children nationwide from 10 to 17 years old, and sexually explicit exposure increased from 1 in 4 to 1 in 3. Solicitation actually decreased from 1 in 5 to 1 in 7. However, aggressive sexual solicitation remained the same. So the statistics show that these crimes are going up. This is an actual real story about a girl named Julie, a 13-year-old girl who met a male 56 years old online, and she ran away from home for 3 weeks until she was recovered.
The internet is a tool that has to be used properly. You know, it's like a knife. I mean, it's very helpful, but it can also cut you. My name is Julie. When I was 13, I started talking to Tom. He didn't act or even sound like a 56-year-old man. So he was different on the computer. I knew that I wasn't supposed to be talking to him, but I did it out of retaliation against my parents. It felt nice to have somebody who was always trying to tell you what to do. It started to get more like a relationship where it went from just friends to best friends, more personal relationship than best friends. I would instant message him between 3 and 6 hours a day. I was really upset whenever I couldn't get on the internet because I knew that he'd be like, what were you doing? And he emailed me like 10 times when we were upset. Then you feel like extremely bad about it. It was an opportunity for him to manipulate more. I trusted him more than anybody else. He mentioned, would it be nice if we were together all the time? And then the thought came up of running away. The night I left, I kissed all my brothers goodnight, and he was in his truck, and we just rode out and ran away for 3 weeks. The day that I was found, we were on our way to Reno. Somebody reported us and saw our truck. I knew pretty much it's over, and I never really thought the day would come. He's going to be in jail for 25 years. He sent a letter to me saying that it was my fault and that he was going to kill me if he ever got out of jail. I was really upset because he didn't say anything about caring about me. I didn't think of his background, and I didn't apply it to myself, and so maybe he could have done anything to me, even killed me. And so, you know, now that I'm back, I feel like there's this huge emptiness inside of me. If I could have talked to people, maybe I would have had a different view on some things. If you're planning to run away, it doesn't help solve anything. If it does anything, it makes it worse. Little things can end up becoming a big thing. I kind of wish that I never would have run away in the first place. I would never do it again.
There's 3 key things that I picked up from this when I first saw this, and one of them was that she mentions that the person that she trusted the most was him. And then she mentioned that when they got caught, they were in their truck, so she was looking at it as their property. And the other thing was a letter that he sent her, even though he was threatened to harm her once he got out of prison. What bothered her the most is that he didn't care about her. So it hit home when I saw that, and it just caught my attention. Some of the material that kids see online, other than, you know, the great stuff that's out there on the internet, is pornography. A lot of pornography on the internet. That's another part of my job, is doing investigations in child pornography, and there's a lot of it out there. I'm working currently 3-4 investigations on child pornography, so it's out there. Hateful, racist, violent content. There's a lot of activity, a lot of details about different activities. I get calls all the time from different agencies, from the state attorney's office. A big thing, unfortunately, this presentation is about an hour long, and I've been told I have to cut it to 20 minutes, so I'm not going to cover a lot of the stuff on social networking sites like MySpace, but there's just a lot of content there. That MySpace is just a whole different area of the internet that kids are getting in trouble because they're revealing too much information and putting too much stuff and a lot of pictures and revealing information about themselves on there. And again, the personal information, kids are, if you go to MySpace, you see so much stuff out there. They're putting the schools they go to, they put information about their families, and that's another place that these sex offenders are looking for kids are on MySpace. I get calls all the time about parents who got solicited on MySpace, and the child went ahead and accepted these people as a friend. One of the things now that is cool with kids in school is the more friends you have on MySpace, the more popular you are. There's even this thing now on the internet where you could go on the internet online and you could buy a website already, a page on MySpace. I saw one recently that you could buy a page with 10,000 friends. So you could actually buy a page already, and could you imagine how popular you are if your friends know that you got 10,000 friends and they probably don't know but maybe a handful of them. So it's pretty sad, and we got to know what our children are doing on the internet. Another thing that I tell especially high school kids about putting photographs and explicit material is that a lot of companies now and a lot of the big schools, what they're doing now is they're going on MySpace and they go on there and they search for applicants to see what kind of stuff they have on there, see if they have a page, and that's keeping them from getting accepted to the big schools or even getting a nice job. So if anything, I tell the kids they need to watch out with that, because once you post it, you can't take it back. This is another PSA that was put together by the National Center, and it kind of gives parents a little example how easy it is to track someone online.
How hard is it to target kids online? Let's conduct an experiment and see. We'll start by going online and selecting a harmless chapter. How about one created specifically for you, like this one about music? Take a look at the list of people currently in the chapter. We'll pick one at random. How about Teresa, 01? Posing as a fellow chatter, we engage Teresa in a private conversation and ask her age. She shrewdly avoids giving us that information. Most online or internet service providers have user directories available to help their members identify others in the group with similar interests. Members can create and store profiles of themselves in the user directory for other members to view. While these directories can be useful, they can also make you vulnerable. We'll look for more information about Teresa by checking her member profile. We type her chat name and learn more. Good job, Teresa. She didn't list her age, location, gender, or post a picture of herself, but what does her name tell us? Is she male or female? If her brother's name is Billy Jr., what might her father's name be? If we click on the locate command, we can follow Teresa wherever she goes in cyberspace. We can also email or instant message her. After 2 minutes of searching, we have determined that Teresa is most likely a female teen. She likes basketball, music, and hanging out with friends. She has a little brother who most likely answers to Billy Jr. She has a valid email address and instant messenger account, and we have accurate addresses for both. Another place to look for information is news group postings. Since we have a valid email address for Teresa, we can use it to search through these postings. Now I know how many messages Teresa has posted, what site she posted them, and the text of each message. In this posting, she has posted several personal identifiers. Can you find them? They are her telephone number, the time of day when she will most likely be home, her mother or sister's name, and her email address. Within 8 minutes, we know that her first name is Teresa. She appears to be in her teens. Her interests are basketball, music, and hanging out with friends. She has a younger brother named Billy Jr. She has valid email and instant messenger accounts. She has a mom or sister named Sue. We have a good idea of what time of day we can find her at home, and we have her home telephone number. How useful is her telephone number? Even if we only have her area code, we could use it to quickly get an idea of her geographic location. However, since we have her entire telephone number, let's use it to perform a reverse lookup and see what else we can find out about Teresa. The search yielded the last name of the person Teresa's telephone number is registered to. Most likely Teresa's last name as well. For those of you wondering about your own telephone numbers right now, there's good news. Most services will allow you to change or eliminate your personal data from their directories if you find it there. But you have to find the services that list your information before you can request that it be removed. As for Teresa, we now have her last name. Let's see what information we can get searching with. We'll need another directory. How about the white pages? With every additional piece of information, we can perform more searches. We'll enter her last name and start our next search. I bet we can find out where she lives now that we have her name. There she is. Laurel. I'm not familiar with that town. Let's see if we can find more information. I'll look it up on the map search. One click and I'm there. But I think I'd like a closer look. And what if I want to find out how to get there? No problem. I can easily get directions online that will tell me step by step how to get from where I am to where Teresa lives. Now, what about schools? Where does Teresa go to school? That should be pretty easy to narrow down. So let's go to an online search engine and put in the details we have found that will be most useful to us. Laurel School. Our search leads to local schools. We can read articles about events in which these schools have been involved. We have the street address for the schools, but most importantly, we can link to the school's websites. That will allow us to find even more detailed information about the school, such as class times, lunch schedules, and possibly pictures of students. It's been 20 minutes since we first identified Teresa in the chat room. Let's review what we've discovered about her in that short time. We know that she's a female teen. We know her full name is Teresa Doe. Her email address is teresa01@email.com. She likes basketball, music, and hanging out with friends. She has a brother named Billy. She collects or trades music. We know the full names of her mother, father, and brother. We know her home telephone number is 555-888-1212. We know she's probably home by 5:30 p.m. on weekdays. Her mom gets home from work by 5:30. She lives at 111 Liberty Road in Laurel, for which we were able to get specific directions. And finally, we know what schools are closest to her home. Hopefully, this will make you take a closer look at what you or your children are posting online.
I've been told I'm out of time. But I have time for some questions. A couple of questions. Mayor, as I said a little while ago, it's a sobering, and this is a very quick presentation of what usually is an hour presentation by these incredible public servants. And it's sobering, but I think that all of us now understand that when we get home, if we think our children are safe, because we're good parents and because we think we know what they're doing, because we tell them not to post a lot of information on the internet, we realize now, I hope, that this is actually an epidemic, that we as parents are the best way to stop it from happening. I don't know, Mayor, if we have time for any questions, up to you, and if there are any questions for these great... Can I also just ask, while I can, because they have been with me on a number of these presentations, could we give them, not for the presentation, but for keeping our kids safe?
Congressman, I want to thank you so much for bringing this presentation to us. I thought it was so important that it be done at a council meeting on camera so people can see it who are at home watching on the internet, so they can also see it on the television. Because this is so important, as so many parents have MySpace. And I know there are many different ways to monitor your children's MySpace, and it's really our responsibility as parents to monitor what our children are doing online, and it is totally our responsibility. I will tell you, we have a youth pastor at our church who goes and checks out the kids' MySpace, and if he doesn't like the clothing that they're wearing or any content in there, he calls them in and he discusses it with them. So there are many ways of monitoring these kids, and we need to take a proactive and responsible measure in doing that. But thank you so much for coming. I know our police department, we also have a very active department that works very well with Metro Dade Department on internet predators. We thank all of you, and thank you so much for your work, what you do. I just really want to tell you how much we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, and there's more information in the folders with who you can get a hold of, information from different police departments and others that that I think would be useful. Again, thank you for allowing us to take part of your very precious time.
Happy to.
Thank you so much.
Very important.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to say, if anybody else would like a presentation done, or whatever organization, we have a lot of organizations in this town between Rotary, Kiwanis, women's clubs, we have businesswomen. If anybody ever wants any of these presentations, just see me and I'll make sure I contact the Congressman's office. Thank you so much. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, presentation of Journeyman Lineman Certificate to Marco Chiano for completion of the City of Homestead Joint Apprentice Journeyman Training Program. Councilwoman Lobos.
Good evening, everybody. This presentation was actually scheduled to be presented at the last council meeting, but Mr. Quijano was part of the team that was putting the power back on for the City of Homestead after we had that storm that night prior to the last meeting. So we're glad that you're able to be here tonight. To tell you a little bit about the Joint Apprentice Journeyman Training Program, it was reestablished on April 26, 1999 between the City of Homestead and the IBEW Local 359 to fulfill the need for and maintain the level of highly skilled journeymen, linemen in the City of Homestead. A joint apprentice committee was subsequently established to administer the policies and procedures. Since 1999, we have had 10 employees graduate from this program, with the last one graduating in August of 2007. Mr. Marco Quijano's original date of hire was on February 22nd, 1999, as a maintenance mechanic in the Public Works and Service Department, Wastewater Division, and then transferred to the Electric Utilities Department in 2003 when he joined the apprentice program. Marco persevered in this program through a work-related injury and a non-work-related injury, but is now our newest journeyman lineman graduate as of March 3rd, 2008. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Mr. Marco Quijano. And now I would like to present you with the Certificate of Completion. This is to certify that Marco Quijano has satisfactorily completed the apprentice training in accordance with standards established by the City of Homestead Joint Apprentice Journeyman Training Program. And as of March 3rd, 2008, he is recognized as being qualified to perform as a journeyman lineman. Thank you. And if the supervisor would like to say a couple of words.
I'm William Miner. I was Marco's foreman, one of the apprentice instructors. He had a tough time with his injuries, and he persevered through it, did a great job, stuck with it. I just want to congratulate him on a well-done job. Hello, Councilwoman and Mayor, City Manager. I'd like to congratulate Marco myself. I'm the IBEW Chairman, Jose Landian, and I hope we continue this program. It's a very good program. As you see, we got homegrown people here. Excellent.
You know, this is a 3-year program. Marco's given up a lot of Wednesday evenings and a lot of Saturday mornings out there training, as well as a lot of book work. And if anybody wants to see him at work this coming Thursday, we have Bring Your Child to Work Day. And he doesn't know it yet, but we're going to send him up a pole. So.
And now I'll just quickly recognize the members of the committee. Wes Copeland from the IBEW Vice Chairman, Marcy Hesse, Director of Human Resources, Jose Landrian, IBEW Chairman, William Minor, Apprentice Instructor, and Anthony Vickers, Apprentice Instructor. Thank you so much.
Thank you and congratulations. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move it.
I'll second. It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. And the ayes carry. Thank you. Did you go? Go ahead. It is? Mayor, if I may, Ms. Tabitha Fazzino, the Executive Director of Miami-Dade Public Schools, is here, and she had a few words for council and the mayor in reference to the compact. Okay. I didn't think that.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sierra. Hi, Mayor. Nice to see you again. I'm just here to say what a pleasure it has been working with your Education Committee. They've really done a very fine job as they've looked at the issues surrounding education and where they would like to see it go in the future. And we look forward to a continued wonderful relationship and coming back to you very, very shortly. But again, the folks have just really put in a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, and it's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Public hearings, ordinances, land use items.
Good evening. Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment on any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish either to be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any item on the agenda.
Mr. Weiss, I have one. Item 6D. I had a conversation with someone. I received a phone call today concerning this item.
Thank you. Any further? At this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify on any quasi-judicial item.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, item tab 12. Item 6A is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving an amendment to the Malibu Bay PUD Master Development Plan by transferring 2.82 acres from the existing residential Pod H to commercial Pod G and further eliminating 46 townhouse units in residential Pod H, located southeast of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, east of Southwest 152nd Avenue, and north of 312th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
I'll move it. I'll second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions from council?
Just one quick one, if I may, Mayor.
Opening the public hearing. Okay.
We had quite a strong opinion last time from a resident to the applicant and his attorney there. I was just wondering if they were able to come to any kind of resolution. I saw them both walk out in the lobby there and just see how the differences may have been worked out or if the explanation was taken care of.
If I may, Dick Coker, representing the applicant. Yes, Mr. Dean did walk out with us. Our engineer, Jay, where are you, Jay? Jay explained it to Mr. Dean much better than I apparently did. He understood it, and he understood that the access was better. And when we walked away, he agreed not to object anymore, that he thought the access was a better situation. And from now on, I'll just have Jay explain it.
Before Jay gets to drive down here with you now.
All right.
Okay, no, I just, it was a pretty good, I wouldn't call it an argument, with discussion last time. I just wanted to see if things had been clarified there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions from council for the applicant or for staff?
Mayor Bell, I just have a comment. Yeah, what was discussed at the last meeting too, just having a street going this way, and I know that a specific question was asked about a garbage truck going down the street, but as I understand it, there's also a gate at the end, so that issue was not an issue because there is another way to access the development.
Yes, Councilperson, that's true.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It seemed like it was just a little bit of a misunderstanding, actually. Thank you. Any of the public like to comment on this particular item? We'll now close the public hearing. Any further comments or questions from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Tab 13, item B, is a second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request of Investor Services, LLC, for a rezoning from one-family district R1 to parking district P for property located on the south side of Northwest 19th Street, just west of Chrome Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. I'll now open the public hearing. I think we've had exhaustive comment on this particular item. Are there any comments or questions from council for the applicant?
Just none other than thank you for working with the neighborhoods in the surrounding areas and doing what was requested of you to the best of your ability. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Any comments?
Unless you have any questions.
Any comments from the audience, from the public? We will now close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to tab 14, item C. This is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request of John D. Stevens for a rezoning from General Use District G to Retail Commercial District B2 for property located at the southeast corner of Farm Life School Road and North Canal Drive, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. I'll move.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We will now open the public hearing. Is there a staff report on this?
Nothing different from the first reading.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kamali. Any comments or questions from council?
I'll reserve them for the next stage.
Any comments from the public? We'll close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to tab 15, this is item D. It's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval for the development consisting of a 14,727 square foot pharmacy with drive-through, a 3,495 square foot bank with drive-through lanes, and an 8,450 square foot retail building on approximately 2.99 acres of land located at the southeast corner of Farm Life School Road and North Canal Drive, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move.
I'll second. It's been properly moved and seconded. I'll now open the public hearing. Is there a staff report on the item?
Yes, Madam Mayor. This is a site plan approval for a shopping center that is on the corner of 162nd and 328. This is a 26,672 square feet that consists of 14,727 square feet of drive-through pharmacy and 3,495 square feet of bank with drive-through and 8,450
square feet of retail building. The only thing that I would like to bring to your attention is the site plan that is in your package proposes a floor to the first entrance of the shopping center. The applicant has gone through planning and zoning, has submitted traffic study to the staff. We reviewed it with their consultant and our consultant, and it shows that what you're proposing is sufficient. However, Planning and Zoning Board recommended a turn lane that goes to the first drive-through, to the first driveway to the west of the, the site plan. And that's something that I want to make sure that you're aware that the one that you have in front of you is the one with the floor. There has been a long discussion with the applicant. That's one of the reasons has been proposed. Mr. Shahada has some additional.
Thank you. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, council members, just to continue the discussion she started, again, when they first went and met with the Planning and Zoning Board, the Planning and Zoning Board requested that they have a turn lane, a full turn lane into the property. I met with the attorney and the owner, and we discussed of course they are objecting to having a turn lane there, and as a manager, based on the facts I have in front of me, based on the traffic study, I concur with the staff recommendation to have flare versus a turn lane. I just want to make it very clear, my recommendation is not to go against the Planning and Zoning Board recommendation. I am advising you based on facts. That's what I think is sufficient. But that's not to dismiss what the Planning and Zoning Board is recommending to you when you arrive at your decision.
Thank you very much. The public, yes.
Excuse me, I just wanted to add that as part of the traffic study, the proportional fair share that they are signing, is coming before you tonight is $165,853 too.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you very much, Ms. Kamali, for that. The public hearing is now open. Would the applicant present his case?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and members of the council. For the record, my name is Chad Williard. I'm an attorney with offices at 999 Ponce de Leon Boulevard, Coral Gables, here tonight on behalf of the applicant. Joining me tonight is who ultimately will be the developer of the site, Mr. Joe Corral, as well as our architect, Mr. Frank Demant, and our traffic consultant, Mr. Richard Garcia. We're all here to answer any questions you may have. I'm actually going to ask Mr. Garcia to come up in a few minutes and explain in detail this, what I believe is really the one issue and the reason why I wanted to speak to you tonight, this issue of turn lane, no turn lane, and explain to you really why we're maintaining the position that we're maintaining, because there really is quite a backstory to it. And also, Mr. Corral would like to say a few words to you, if you'll be so kind as to let him speak as well. And I'll try to make this brief. As I said, I think staff, we've gone on ad nauseum over the months with this application. It's been well over a year since we filed it, and I think all the issues have been resolved, so I'll limit my comments strictly to this one issue of the turn lane. If you have any specific questions regarding the site plan, as I mentioned, the architect's here and he'll be happy to answer those questions. But this is the one open issue, and this is the reason why we've had to defer a couple of times, because we really have tried to look at this thing in every way that we could look at it, because Mr. Corral, as he'll tell you, he's a quality developer. He wants to be a good neighbor, but there are certain just realities to this site that are really putting him between a rock and a hard place here. Now, when this application was filed over a year ago, we submitted the plans, we submitted our traffic report, your consultants looked at it, as the manager mentioned. At no time did anyone recommend this turn lane. It came up for the first time really at the very end of the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. One of the board members said, I think it'd be a good idea to have a turn lane there. And so at the end of that, I understand everyone's entitled to their opinion. We said we would look at it, and I think if you look in the minutes from that meeting, we agreed, and Ms. Kamali was very nice to help facilitate it. We agreed to meet with the County Public Works Department to see if it was an option, because it's, at the time we thought county right-of-way. The county is actually doing some improvements there, making it a 4-lane right now, and there's a lot of structures that they're installing, and the turn lane would have to go into that public right-of-way because our site is so narrow. Everyone agreed there was no way to put the turn lane in our site. So we said we would look at it, and that was really the condition coming out of the Planning and Zoning Board. A couple of specific members mentioned that they wanted the turn lane, but we said we'll take a look at it, and that's actually what we did. We went to the Public Works Department. Ms. Kamali and I met with Raul Pino there, and their highway division person again confirmed what every other expert that's looked at this has said, that the turn lane, they didn't think it was warranted, but they would not object to it so long as we knew that we would have to pay for it, because they didn't think it was warranted. There would be no impact fee credits, and that we would make sure not to disrupt any structures that they were installing in this as part of this new project that's going on there right now. Even with that, I think we were still willing to take that risk, because we don't really know what we're going to find when we get in there and start engineering this turn lane. But it was with the understanding that we could use part of the almost $166,000 proportionate fair share fee, that we could get credit for this turn lane. It's something that obviously some of the board members wanted, and we want to be good neighbors, so we're sort of going down that path. The city attorney did some research into the matter and found that, unfortunately, the way your proportionate fair share ordinance is written, we cannot get credit for the work. And it's going to cost, right now, our estimate has been somewhere in the neighborhood of $55,000 to do this turn lane. If we could have gotten credit, apply that towards $166,000 that we already have to pay, we were willing to explore that option. And that's really the difficult issue that we have tonight. Is this is a relatively small project. It's 3 acres. It's a Walgreens with some small retail component to it. And the developers here tonight, he'll tell you, we just really have a difficult time. The numbers just don't work, that in addition to this $166,000, which quite frankly Homestead is one of the few places in the county or in South Florida that requires this type of sort of over and above fee at this time, when you tack on an additional $60,000, and it could end up being more than that. Like I said, we don't know what we'll even find when we go in and actually try to start permitting and engineering for that turn lane, because of the work that the county is already doing right now. And so that's really our issue tonight. And again, if it was something that at any time anyone from a public safety standpoint had said it's something you really need to do, then we would take a look at that. But at every step of the way, for over a year now, every expert who's looked at this has said it's really not necessary. So again, we're not being stubborn. We're not sort of drawing a line in the sand. We want to be able to do this project. I'm sort of giving you some of the layman's reasons of why we can't do it. Richard Garcia, our traffic engineer, is here. He and I met with the manager, and he presented, Mr. Garcia presented to him a report, and sort of walked him through why technically it's really not necessary in this case. And if you'll give me a few minutes, I'd like to ask Mr. Garcia to come up and just sort of go through the issue from a technical standpoint.
Please have Mr. Garcia. Point of clarification. One second. Mr. Shahara, did you want to speak now or wait till
I just have a quick comment, if you don't mind, Mayor, council members. Again, the attorneys representing the property owner is absolutely correct. We met with them, and actually everything we asked for, they were willing to do it in terms of just the flare, short of having a turn lane. And another thing I want you to take into consideration when you're making the final decision, that the stern lane is in the right of way. So if we don't have it done now, there's opportunity in the future. The only thing, the city will be paying the cost in the future versus now they're paying for it as a site improvement.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. And I also spoke with Ms. Kamali. I've spoken with staff to say that there really hasn't been a justification to force the developer to do this. So, we've had a discussion on that. Ms. Sierra, if you don't mind, can we wait till the applicant finishes presenting before you ask your question? Sure. Thank you.
And just very quickly, Mr. Shada makes a good point. We actually did, and it was actually the reason for, I think, the second deferral of this item. As a result of the meeting that we had with the manager, and I believe Ms. Kamali was there, we did make some changes to the existing drive to flare it out and do some things that did improve the circulation. So the plan was improved and changed in some way after that meeting. At this point, I'm going to ask Mr. Garcia to come up, and then Mr. Corral would like to say just a few words, and then I'll come back and finish up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Richard Garcia.
13117 Northwest 107th Avenue, and I'm the traffic engineer that did the initial traffic study, and I was looked at, in this instance, to look at an eastbound right turn lane, which is the subject at hand. So I want to give you some general information, and I think we have a handout which has the bullet items that I'll be going over. The general information I wanted to present on right turn lanes. The analysis we did was based on our latest technical memorandum, which, because we've gone through several revisions in our traffic study and traffic analysis, but it was based on the latest report, technical memo, which was dated August 21st, 2007. And that report found that the eastbound right turn volume, or the volume that's going to affect that, the so-called right turn lane, would be 59 vehicles per hour. That's approximately 2 vehicles every 120 seconds, or 1 vehicle per minute. And a minute may sound like a short time, but it's quite a long time when you're counting vehicles and you only have 1 vehicle in 60 seconds. Threshold volumes for left turn lanes, and the reason I'm bringing up left turn lanes because really that's all that exists in our industry, is typically 200 vehicles per hour, where here we only have about 59 or 60, and that's for signal phasing. Right turn lanes actually have a higher threshold than left turn lanes, and the reason for that is because they don't really have anything that conflicts them. They're free-flowing, basically. So whenever there is a right turn lane, there's nothing to stop you. And so the threshold volumes from a traffic perspective is much greater than even a left turn lane, because there's no conflicting movements. We looked at AASHTO, which is the Civil Engineer's Guide for Roadway Designs, the Florida Intersection Design Guide, the Plans Preparation Manual, the Design Standards. These are all FDOT manuals which really dictate, how roadways are supposed to be designed, and they have no criteria for right turn lanes, only for left turn lanes. We did some operational analysis, and what we did was we looked at both the existing geometry, because that's a 2-lane undivided roadway currently, but as you know, it's being widened. But we looked at both scenarios in the operational analysis. The driveway is proposed that will have a level of service A with overall delay of 0.5 seconds. That means any vehicle approaching that driveway, that's the expected delay, half a second delay. When we look at the actual driveway approach, or what's stop controlled, in the proposed condition, the level of service is going to be 20 seconds average delay. And this is in the peak hour, the worst time possible, which would yield a level of service C. So the eastbound right turn lane doesn't really even impact that approach and that level of service. The eastbound right turn lane, again, since it's free flow, would have zero delay, even if you were to put one in. So the conclusion there, looking at the existing geometry, is that the right turn lane, there's no justification, there's nothing to support it. When we looked at the widened geometry, the level of service was even greater, because that roadway is going to be 4 lanes divided. It's really, the characteristics are going to be totally different than what you were used to out there. It's going to be an urban road as opposed to, it's currently a rural road, 2-lane road. In any event, the delay there was 0.4 seconds for that driveway, and the northbound approach would improve to 15.4 seconds level of service D. And again, it's not impacted by the right turn lane, and that right turn lane would have, in the widened configuration, 0 delay. So our conclusion from the operational analysis is that the analysis doesn't support a need for a right turn lane. All of this was above, and I just note there, the software analysis tool that we use. We also did a safety analysis, and this is something that's typically done by FDOT when they're considering whether to implement a turn lane, an auxiliary lane. Our safety analysis, we estimated the Florida accident reduction factors, and we looked up to see if there's any improvements from implementing a right turn lane. They don't have any reduction factors for, and I put them there in quotes, add turn bay, right turn lane, or add right turn. That means that they don't have any data to support crash reductions or safety improvements only for that type of geometric configuration. However, when you look up left turn lanes, there's all kinds of numbers, and that's why most of our roadways have a lot of left turn lanes, because they improve traffic flow, they reduce crashes, all the things we're used to. Since the driveway doesn't exist, there's no crash patterns or any
crash data available to suggest that there's a problem. And usually these right turn lanes, when they're implemented, it's because there's history or there's something that's indicating that there's a problem. Since there's no driveway, there's no indication of. So a specific need must first exist to identify a safety deficiency, and there isn't one here. Looking at a safety analysis, we should always consider what are other alternatives, and I think that that's what I'll get into at the end, because it's basically what's been done here at this site, what the improvements that have been made. Less costly improvements should be evaluated first, and these are all safety analysis methods that are used. First look at what other, not just say, oh, this is a solution. First we have to identify a problem and look for less costly improvements if they exist. So our analysis there is that there's no support for a right turn lane. Lastly, we did a benefit cost analysis. And this is really to the dollars and cents of the decision-making process. And the BC, or benefit cost ratio, you should have a number that's greater than 1, which basically justifies the improvement. That means that for every dollar you're spending, you're getting a better return. Typical BCs that I've seen when I was at DOT was between 1 and 7, and sometimes as high as 10 for these type of improvements for auxiliary lanes, especially left turn lanes. Based on the operational improvements, we included both the right turn lane, proposed right turn lane, and the widening. We looked at the delay reductions for that, which is a very conservative analysis. The construction cost estimate that was given to us, again, independently by the civil engineer, CES was the engineers, we obtained a BC of 0.2. In layman's terms, what this means is for every dollar you spend, you're going to be getting 20 cents in benefits. There's always benefits to improvements, but in this case, really the costs really outweigh the benefits by a lot. If this was a public policy decision, obviously the decision would be, well, let's look for other improvements that yield greater BC than 1, because this would be from a public policy perspective. So our conclusion there is that the analysis doesn't support the need for a right turn lane. All these analyses, as I've mentioned several times, are based on FDOT methodology for funding projects using state or federal funds. Our BC worksheets were developed by the University of Florida, Department of Civil Engineering, and we've attached all our analysis and calculations in there, so if there's any questions, we want to see how we go. We came up with some recommendations, which we met with the city manager, and apparently everyone has agreed so far that these should be implemented, and they're in the current design, and that's to flare the approach, and I can explain in detail if you want what any of these mean, to flare the approach, to widen the driveway, and that is to provide 2 lanes inbound, so where before you only had 1 lane in, now you'll have 2 lanes in. So even though we haven't talked about the westbound left turn lane, that left turn lane would have its own receiving pocket, if you will, and then the right turns would have their own pocket also. And to increase the driveway radius, we noticed that the radius could be improved, and so we implemented all the recommendations actually into the current plan. And with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Thank you. I'd like to open while you're there, I'd like to ask if council members have any questions for the traffic planner.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor, I just need to, for the record, the document that Mr. Garcia was referencing through this whole, just so that it's clear for the record, it is the eastbound right turn lane analysis prepared by Richard Garcia and Associates, April 17, 2008.
Thank you very much.
If I may, Mayor.
He actually clarified my question. I was not sure if we were talking about a left-hand turn, right-hand turn, deceleration lane, so that was clarified. Thank you very much. Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Just having had this book and you speaking rather quickly for a layman up here, is a consideration that this turn is right before a stoplight, taking into all the numbers that you were given, and that people are going to be accelerating from there, leaving the stoplight and going towards the turn into the parking lot?
Sure, but at this point, probably most of the vehicles have already reached their cruising speed, because...
No, I'm saying when you take off from a light, which is right there just to the west of the corner,
right,
the cars are going to be going getting up to speed still when they're approaching this driveway? Do you have numbers, or do you guys analyze anything like that? Because that's where I foresee a problem with people not paying attention, taking off from the stoplight and going forward and not paying attention, and then all of a sudden somebody turns. As you know, we don't use blinkers in South Florida, and it becoming a problem and that. And then one other comment you said, history usually makes people come back to fix things. Is the developer willing to come back if we have a history and fix it in 2 years if there's a big problem, if we should let it go through this way? Sure. You're saying he will come back and fix it?
No, I wanted to answer the first question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, but that's why driveways are usually spaced far away from the intersection, and your department has looked at that, and they haven't had an issue with the location of it. But yes, if this driveway was, within a few feet of the radius, then the vehicles are speeding up, and it causes that would be what we call the influence of the intersection, the influence area of the intersection. But this is way beyond the influence area of the intersection.
A couple hundred yards, I wouldn't call that way beyond.
Well, for operational purposes, it is. A lot of the decisions the drivers are making near intersections is usually within 100 feet. DOT criteria usually wants driveways outside of 100 feet of an intersection. Plus, the flare, I wanted to describe, the flare that's being recommended, it acts like a quasi-right turn lane, and improving the radius also does. The idea is to basically get the vehicle transitioning from the through lane, turning in as easily as possible, and that's basically what we've done with the improvements. So it really offsets what a right turn lane, a lot of the benefits of a right turn lane, and that's why we recommended that flare. And then you have an additional 12 feet ingress, so you have really double the pavement to turn in. So there's really no impediment there to the eastbound vehicles.
Down on the second entrance to the proposed retail building, there's nothing there.
Correct, that's just a standard driveway. These driveways are spaced.
This is going to be a single one in, one out. It's not extra wide like the center one is?
The first one. That's correct.
Okay, because right across the street we have a problem coming into that Walgreens right there, coming across US 1. Somebody turns in, somebody comes out a little too far, you can't pull in, you got a traffic problem.
Yeah, that happens when you have a lot of conflicting movements and you have a lot of driveways. These driveways are spaced very well. Actually, they're following the DOT standard is basically what we're doing here with the spacing, and that's why you want to try to minimize and space your driveways accordingly. Because if you put too many of them in too close proximity, then you have conflicting movements, which is what you're describing.
Mayor Bell, if I may.
Councilwoman Lobos.
Thank you. I see what you're saying, and I get the problem and the studies and that there's no need for a right turn lane. I would, though, like to commend planning and zoning. What they're doing is they're trying to anticipate a problem, and they're looking ahead. Now, that corner right now, as it is undeveloped. Right now, we have a school coming, and we also have across the street on the left-hand side a vacant lot, which will probably be developed soon, and we've got the expansion, and so probably I see what planning and zoning is doing. They're just trying to anticipate a traffic flow problem that could potentially happen once we get all that area developed the way that we anticipate it's going to develop.
Right, I understand. But when you look at right turn lanes that exist, you have to compare to see, like, where do you have right turn lanes? You have right turn lanes southbound on US 1 and Campbell Drive. This site will never have the volumes to approximate that. I was involved with the Lowe's on Campbell, and that has a right turn lane. The magnitude of the development for Lowe's is nowhere near this. So really, right turn lanes typically is for very large shopping centers. Like Dadeland or major traffic generators, regional centers, really more than small sites like this. I really I've never seen professionally, I've never seen the need. I've approved hundreds, if not thousands, of driveway permits when I worked for the Florida Department of Transportation. And I never seen, this is really like a Category B site, and they have them from A to D. I've never seen justification for a site of this size to justify a right turn lane.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a few comments. Thank you very much for your very, very adequate presentation. Quite frankly, I also understand P&Z's proactive approach, but I think that we must be careful to force upon one developer improvements because of future impact from future other developments. I think as those developments come along, we need to hold them accountable and responsible for the impact that they're going to have on the traffic. If we start making one developer responsible for other developers' future, what's coming on in the future, I think we need to be very careful. And I do also understand planning and zoning, and I commend them for being proactive, but I also think that we have staff recommendation, we have a safety analysis, we have benefit cost analysis, we have, and I have discussed with the manager and with staff and with the attorney, and I think that I appreciate the cautiousness of council. I think that's always wise, as well as the cautiousness of planning and zoning. But I also think that we have recommendations. We have almost $166,000 that's going to be coming in to offset this particular project. So in the recommendations, I see the flared approach, the widening of the driveway, which is now doubling the size of the driveway, and providing the 2 inbound lanes and increasing the driveway radius. I really cannot justify forcing this developer to add a right turn lane. And quite frankly, I was a bit caught off guard because the right-hand turn is the easiest turn. It's the left-hand turn that's usually the problem. So I thought it was very interesting that all of this impetus, if you will, was put on a right-hand turn when those are the less egregious, if you will. So I find no problem with this whatsoever. I do appreciate the content of council, their comments. I think they're very, very wise. Also, we're going to open the public. We have opened the public, Mr. Sullivan. Just one moment as council exhausts itself. Yes, Mr.
My one question wasn't answered by the developer that I asked. If it becomes a history of a problem over there where we continually have a problem, will he come back to help us?
Actually, Madam Mayor, I was going to have the developer come up and say a few words, so maybe this will be the appropriate time to do that. Should we do that now?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
And as soon as the developers finish, the members of the audience, anybody in opposition or in favor of, the floor will be open for them as well. Thank you.
Hi. Good evening. My name is Joe Corral. My office is at 1201 Brickell Avenue, Miami, Florida, 33131. Just real quickly, just basically reiterating what Chad said. We're not trying to be stubborn or unbending. We're not trying to do what we can. I mean, obviously, if it was something we could agree to, we would have done it, not gone to all this trouble. Just the thing is, the scope of this project and the estimated costs, especially the unknown costs. That's always the thing that can really be difficult in development, is the unknown cost. It is a hardship for this particular deal. As Richard even said, that's really kind of the bottom line. The scope of our project and the potential costs and the unknown costs is a hardship, and we can't justify it for this particular project. So I just want you guys to know that we've tried, and we're not just trying to be stubborn and unwilling. It's legitimately where we're coming from. So I just wanted you guys to hear that from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments from council?
One more quick one for the developer or for his attorney. With the new school coming in the background, have you guys taken into consideration how you may keep the loitering from happening after school hours with the children, or what we might?
Well, we're going to put up a retaining wall. We're putting up a retaining wall. I think it's 5 or 6 feet. I forget the exact height on the entire perimeter of the property. And that's going to be a nice looking wall. It'll certainly keep the kids. It's a preschool and a K through 8 school. I mean, watering is a great corporate citizen. Their stores are very well managed, and they're not going to put up with any kind of situation like that. So I think you have to leave it to the quality of the tenants that we're going to hopefully have. And I don't see it as a problem. If it is, I think that the merchants will deal with it, and whoever owns, myself as a developer of the shopping center will deal with it as well. But it's hard to anticipate what that might be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now testimony from the public, Mr. Sullivan.
Kevin Sullivan, 1860 Southeast 6th Court, Homestead. I'm here tonight simply as a homeowner, and I'm not representing any other organization. I have spoke with the developer on the phone on several occasions. Very cordial. I appreciate it. I listened tonight to his traffic engineer. I've listened to a lot of traffic engineers in my time here in Homestead. His presentation was impressive. But every developer that comes here has a traffic engineer. Yet we still have a mess in the city. I'm only going by my experience in driving. I've been driving for an excess of probably 25 years or so now. And
That's all?
well, I just said and so. I mean, I'm not going to admit to any more than that. And I think this is the time to put the right turn lane there with the close proximity to the intersection. Now, why are we going to a 4-lane road if it's a rural area? We're going to a 4-lane road because Dade County has determined the traffic flow is going to be increased tremendously. And this was before we learned that Turkey Point was going to be upping their amount of workers. This was before we learned that the air base was going to be increasing the amount of people going there. So all I'm asking is for you, the council, to look at this situation. I do not believe asking this developer to come back 2 years after the fact is fair to the developer. You have to make a decision tonight. It's not practical. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Would the applicant like to respond?
Thank you. And Mr. Corral did have some conversations with Mr. Sullivan. One thing I just want to point out, this widening project that's going on now, we understand that what's there now is not going to be there 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And Mr. Garcia will attest to the fact that the widening, the 4-lane project that's going right now is anticipating growth for the next 20 years. So there are things, volume that's being added to that area to accommodate that. And given the size, the relatively small size of this property, it is just not warranted to have this right turn lane at that location. We've gone through a very long process. As I've mentioned, we met with staff. Through several different modifications to this plan, we now have what we truly believe is the best, safest plan that we can reasonably provide to this community. It's going to provide a Walgreens that everyone seems to want there. It's going to do it with a site plan that is very aesthetically pleasing, very well landscaped. It will replace what I think we'll all agree right now is a very blighted, I think there's even some contamination on the site that we're going to have to deal with. I mean, there are a significant amount of expenses that we're going to have to undertake just to bring this property up to a point where we can redevelop it. And that's all the things that are being taken into consideration here. We obviously don't want an unsafe condition at that site. If we thought that's what we were going to have, I believe we would listen to our experts who would have told us so, and we have agreed to add this lane. So with all that, we would respectfully request that you follow the advice of your staff and approve the site plan as proposed. Again, you're getting $166,000 in proportionate fair share fees to help the city accommodate its growth, which it's going through, which will help in addition to this widening project that's already going forward. So with that, I'll close and we're available for any questions that you have.
Thank you very much. Are there any further comments or questions from council? We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
No.
Councilwoman Lobos? Yes. Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Sullivan, I think that's the first time I've disagreed with you in a very long time. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it.
Moving on to item E, tab 16, it's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida granting site plan approval for the development consisting of a 6,374 square foot retail shopping center located at 1435 Northeast 8th Street between Northeast 14th and 15th Avenues as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. I move it. I'll second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there a staff report on this item?
Yes, this is a small retail shopping center. It's on between 162nd and 167th on Campbell Drive. It's a B1, and there is an existing structure, residential structure on the site at this time.
Thank you. The public hearing is now open. Would the applicant like to present as well?
Good evening. My name is Stafford O'Toole. My address is 18850 Southwest 294 Terrace, Homestead.
Thank you.
May I ask if he's registered? I don't see him on our list.
He's the applicant, I believe.
He is the applicant. He is the father and one of the owners of the corporation. His son is the one who's been running the ball with him. But he is the applicant as part of the corporation.
It's not registered. Okay.
My name is Luis Rosas at 13831 Southwest 59th Street, Suite 100, Miami, Florida. I'm the engineer for the project, and we have met with staff and complied with all their requests, and we seek approval of this property, of this project.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council?
Yes. On the maps, the location map, I got a couple of different ones. I don't know which one's right. One page I have a square box around one of the houses with a small square box inside of it.
What page number is that?
I don't have a page.
Page 280.
All right. Back a couple more. Can I show you? This one here. With the small square. Are we talking about that one piece? Is there going to be 4 on this one piece of property, or is it? Okay.
You satisfied, Mr. Nelson?
I think so.
Thank you.
We'll keep going.
Any further comments or questions from council? Now, any comments or questions from public? We will now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Your last and final quasi-judicial item this evening is tab 17, item F, a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida granting site plan approval for the development consisting of a 62,020 square foot warehouse extension to the existing 60,901 square foot of storage and offices located at 1,000 Park of Commerce Boulevard within the Park of Commerce in the Villages of Homestead Development of Regional Impact, DRI, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
I will entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. I will now open the public hearing. Is there a staff report on this item, Ms. Kamali?
Yes, this is a 62,000 square foot addition to an existing 60,000 and is on 9.99 acres and is in the village of DRI. Therefore, they do have a concurrency and they're vested.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to present?
My name is Richard Passetti. I'm the architect for the applicant. He's asked me to answer any questions. We're just requesting to be approved. We work with staff throughout the course of this approval process and met all their conditions, and we're here to get our final approval.
Thank you. I was just out there the other night speaking on behalf of the Vision Council, and it's rather exciting to see this expansion, to see this Gold Coast beverage distributorship doubling its size. I think that's very good for the City of Homestead, and so I'm very, very pleased about this. Any comments or questions from council?
Welcome to town.
Comments from the public? I'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Legislative? Thank you.
First item is a second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, establishing a city advisory board by creating a new Division 9 Homestead Community Image Advisory Board of Article 3 boards and commissions of Chapter 2 administration of the City Code, providing for the qualification and appointment of members, establishing terms of office, providing for rules of procedure, providing for jurisdiction, providing for standards of conduct, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, and effective dates as a second reading and public hearing.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from council?
Just that we're still accepting applications from anybody that would like to apply for this. They can send them to the city's clerk, and she will forward them on. For those people that have sent them in, I will be getting to you shortly. Hopefully we will have enough after tonight or here in the next few days that we can get back to everybody and get started.
Thank you very much. The public hearing is open. Any final comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a transportation proportionate fair share agreement between the City of Homestead and John D. Stevens, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date. This is a companion item to the prior one, I believe.
It's been properly moved. I'll second. It's been seconded. Any comments or questions from council? Public hearing is open. Any comments from the public? Close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The final item is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the cooperative agreement between the city and the school board of Miami-Dade County, Florida, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. The public hearing is now open. Any initial comments from council? Mr. Manager?
Mayor, council members, I just want to make sure that you receive the copy with the blanks filled. When the agenda was distributed, there were some blanks, but Marcy filled them, and it was distributed tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I do have one comment, Mayor Bell, if I may. This, just want to remind council and the community that this is still not 100% been adopted by Dade County Public School Board. Basically, what we're doing this evening is moving it forward. There might be some minor changes, either grammatical or just shifting of the wording, but basically this is going to be the document that will be presented to Dade County Public School Board. And just wanted to make everyone aware of that there might be some minor changes.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council? Any comments from the public? Close the public hearing. Roll call. Mr. Judge.
Thanks. Brian Judge, 260 Northeast 10th Street. I had a quick comment. I'm glad to see you guys are still possibly entertaining changes. I think some of the stuff that got proposed got a little watered down in the process. I'd like to see the city make firmer commitments as far as time and material and money. And I'd like to see you guys ask for firmer commitments from the school board. I guess it's the first year, so it's starting on it. So it's good. It's a good point to work from. One thing in particular I wanted to mention is I know the IB program is going to be out at the Air Base School. I think that puts it out of the realm of accessibility to a lot of Homestead and Florida City. And I think that's too far away. I'd like us to task the school board to do it on a school inside Homestead city limits. It seems close to you and me. We just jump in our old Ford and cruise over there. But we're in a different position than a lot of people. If you're working a minimum wage job, you might not have a vehicle, or that expense driving 20 miles a day back and forth is significant to that. And if you got to get up to get public transportation, there's no way you can get your kid all the way out to Air Base. So maybe if you can't get it inside Homestead, at least try and get the school board to commit to transporting students. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your comments.
If I may respond, Mayor Bell? We took a lot into account of the fact that there were going to be a lot of budget cuts in the school system as well as in the city, and really tried to work with the school board with a document that we feel will be able to be accepted, which is very important in our first year. Students that do get accepted into Airbase for the IB program will have provided their transportation. That's something that's already in the works. And we feel that after many, many hours of working through this document, that we have a document that's workable, will be acceptable without asking for any funding from the city or from the actual school board, but just really working with our citizens and our volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you, and the city actually is contributing quite a lot by contributing its employees.
Yes.
And by paying for their time. I mean, I think that's quite a contribution. So, anyway, I want to thank you for the comments anyway. Any further comments from council?
Yes, Mayor Bell, if I may, just to go on those comments that I made earlier at the prior meeting, I do think it's a good document, and I think it's a good idea that we revisit this every year. We're going to see it implemented. We're going to see its effect. If it's not being effective, if it's just a document, by all means, we're going to come back and we're going to change it. We don't want it to just be words, something that we're going to refer back as a nice idea. If it's not working, it's going to be changed, and I will propose those changes. As I see it now, I see that this is a good springboard from which we can work from.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lobos.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to say that this agreement is for the intern program only. It's not the mentoring program. This is for the intern program mainly with Homestead High School for them to provide interns to the City of Homestead departments here. The mentoring program is a separate thing that we don't need to have an agreement. Our employees will be participating. We have about 15 that will be participating in that.
Mention that.
So what you're approving is the intern program. This draft did come from the school. It hasn't gone before the board to be approved, but this is the agreement we had to approve before it would go back to the board for approval in order for us to allow the interns to come on city property.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll now open the floor for public comment. Business from the city manager.
Mayor, council members, I have no business tonight.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sierra.
Just want to mention that we did have our first tourism committee, and we had a nice turnout. A lot of ideas are coming, and we welcome anyone that would like to join us during our meetings. We had our first town hall meeting at seat number 5, the Waterstone area, Malibu Bay, Oasis, and the Grove at Waterstone. And I thank all council members and the mayor for coming, and staff. We really made a great impression on the community in the sense that they realize that we are a council and staff that really cares about what the citizens want and need and deserve. I have gotten nothing but great comments from that, and I appreciate everyone being there. I want to thank the members that assisted in creating the compact. As I mentioned on Tuesday, this was about 10 to 15 hours a week of volunteer time from many people in our community, including Maria Garza, Miss Marcia Tejeda, David Caraval, Rosemary Fuller, Adrian Lopez, June Craig, Marjorie Lopez, Sue LaGuardia, Jerome Williams, Marco Valverde, Sadiq Abdullahi, Monica Whitaker, Sonia Murgasal, Rosemary Fuller again, Marguerite Scantz, Patricia Fairclough, Katie Pierre, Dr. Trantham, Sip Garza, and Robert Mentor. And these are people that really took out of their time to make a difference for our community. Ribbon cutting in South Dade, and I'm sure the mayor will be talking about that. Also participated in National Library Week, where I had an opportunity to read to pre-K students this last Thursday. Also had an opportunity to chamber spotlight on the alligator farm. Was quite amazing. I encourage everyone to go. And last Monday, I had an opportunity to go up on an F-16 with Colonel Tracy Hunt. What an amazing, surreal experience that was, and it just gives us more appreciation for what our Air Force is doing for us. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Just reiterate that the Community Image Board is still accepting applications. Thanks to Ms. Sierra and all the staff to put together the town hall meeting, and I am still trying to get with our developer over there to find out when we can get the Keysgate Clubhouse, or I mean not the Keysgate Clubhouse, but the golf course available. Some dates are going back and forth. And my condolences out to Major Kennedy and his brother Brian on the passing of their mother.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Lobos?
Thank you, Mayor Bell. I would like to start by thanking Chief Rowe. The police explorers were out here tonight, about 20 of them, if City Clerk can put out, and they were helping plant the xeriscape garden that you see up there. And they had a lot of fun. They had a little 10-minute presentation to let them know the type of plants that they were planting. And so as you saw coming in, we now have a xeriscape garden, and as of next week, there'll be a plastic container there so you can take pamphlets home to find out more information about drought-resistant gardens. Thank you. And what an excellent group of kids. I mean, I've heard of it, I've kind of seen them, but this was the first time that I really was able to interact. In this day and age, to see that level of just politeness, the manners, and the way they conduct themselves is really impressive, Chief Rowe. Thank you so much for that. And that was our Earth Day presentation from the City of Homestead, so thank you. I have no other business. Thank you, Mayor Bell.
Councilwoman Lobos, I want to thank you for spearheading that, and thank you for your leadership. Councilman McCormick.
Yes, very briefly, Mayor Bell. I got a phone call, I got two phone calls actually about some summer programs in the community, and I went on the internet to do some research, and I saw that there's one summer program at the racetrack, and I've heard there's another one at Roby George Park, but there's no information on the internet. So I wonder if we can get some information posted on the internet so the community can find out about the summer program at Roby George Park. And also I want to encourage the community to get their kids involved in the summer program parks. But please let's get that posted on the internet so the community can be aware of what's going on in the southwest section at Roby George Park. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Councilman Nelson?
Thank you, Mayor Bell. Last week I got to attend Career Day at my child's school at Ammons Middle School. The kids were so great. They asked so many questions about the process in the government, and then they got off into my other job, and it was a great day. We spent about 3 or 4 hours there doing it, and I also went to the ribbon cutting at South Dade High School. Very beautiful school. I congratulate them. Last week I took a tour with Dan Wick and the CRA, went out into the southwest neighborhood, and I really like the ideas he's got going. I can't wait to work with him and get some of these things implemented. We talked about a lot of things, really some great ideas coming up. I really look forward to working with him. I was also out with Nazi last week at the Chamber Spotlight at the Everglades. Wild airboat ride. I forgot to say that. And it's very neat. It's the first time I've ever been out there, and I've lived here my whole life. And very interesting, you know, we really had a good time. I'd like to ask the police department if on our weekly police reports, if maybe some of us could get them emailed to us. A couple of the council members have asked me, save a tree, and they would like it emailed maybe. I like the hard copy myself, but maybe we can work on something to get it in an email form or something. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Yes, it seems like they would rather go out and see alligators and ride airboats than come hear me speak at the Vision Council. Well, if I could have been there, I would have been there too, by the way. I participated in Career Day last week at Redondo Elementary School, and I spoke to the third graders, and they were great. They really were great. I'm increasingly amazed at the quality of the questions that I get from third graders. It almost scares me at how bright these kids are and some of the questions that they ask. So it was a great day, and I really did appreciate doing that. Also, the level of organization that I met at Redondo Elementary School, that each participant in Career Day was assigned a student, and they had a roster, and they were assigned to a particular room, and there was a grid of every person that spoke, and then there was a lunch that was presented, and your escort presented you with a bag, and in your bag was your little certificate and everything. It was just amazingly organized. I was just very impressed with that, and I want to commend Redondo. Also, the ribbon cutting at South Dade High School, it was a great event, and I'm amazed at how big the school is. I mean, it is just such a large school, and if you could see from the inside, the courtyard area, and how pretty it is. It's just very, very pretty from the inside. I almost said I wish I could just turn it around so you could see the inside of it and how lovely it is on the inside. Thank you, Councilman McCormick and Nazi and Tim as well for coming out to the ribbon cutting. It's good for them to see many of us show up for something like this, and I just appreciate that. We had our first charter review meeting last week, and we'll be meeting on Thursdays, but we're also meeting tomorrow because I'll be out of town this Thursday. So we'll be meeting every single week. We have an excellent committee, a committee that really cares about what goes into the charter. So I'm looking forward to some good proposals that will come before council. Also, we talked about the business showcase, the business spotlight at the Vision Council. I was very pleased to be their guest speaker, and it was just a great event, and there were members of the business community from all over. In fact, Rebecca did a story in the Neighbors on the spotlight, and it was really, really good. Also, there was a little clip of the BMW drive, a very unflattering photo again. We're going to have to stop that. Mr. Burgess, Vice Mayor Burgess, and I were invited to drive BMWs last Monday, and I shouldn't say drive because we really were invited to race BMWs, and I was a little scared at first, but I got over it very quickly. And we had a lot of fun, and we had at one point there was a Miami Herald photographer in the back seat trying to take pictures when the driver took over, so he was like all over the car, and I really felt sorry for him. I thought he might be going to get sick. It was all over, but it was a great event, and I just appreciate being invited and representing the city as well. Special congratulations to Councilwoman Nazi Sierra for her F-16 flight, and when she came out of the plane, I want you all to know that she waved her air sickness bag, and it was completely empty, and I witnessed it, and she waved it at us, and she was really excited, and she had the same pilot I had, so I know what kind of tricks he can do up there in the air. And after he did a couple with me, I scolded him a little bit so he didn't do it again. But it was great. I'm very happy. Also, a few of us attended a retirement ceremony for Colonel Daly, and we want to wish him well. We presented him with a nice plaque on behalf of the city of Homestead. Also, a week ago, we had Ramiro Brito at Art South for the 7th anniversary of Art South, and that was just a fun event, marvelous. Lots of kids got to come and paint with Ramiro Brito, and he did a mural on the wall, and they wanted me to at least paint some part of it. So the bridge, because to show you how gifted I am artistically, they only let me paint the bridge of the eyeglasses on the face. So that was the extent of my artiste there. That's when you go there and look at it, the eyeglass bridge, that I painted that. So it was a great event. There were just dozens of kids who paid a little bit of money to paint with Ramiro Brito, get their picture taken with him, and it was just really, really a great neighborhood community event. It's great to be out there with all the kids. They were so excited. And also, I'm very excited that I have been presented with a certificate from an artist at Art South who is a fantastic artist, Vanessa, and she's going to paint me. So I was saying I wanted a painting for the hallway, so we're going to get one, and she's going to be painting me. So that's just very exciting. I'm very, very thrilled about that. Also, we have been very busy in the past couple of weeks. Many of us attended the Military Affairs Committee Award Banquet, and we presented all of the awardees with gifts from the city of Homestead. It was a wonderfully attended event to show the military men and women how much we do appreciate them. And I also attended the Special Olympics Torch Run to see just to see our special citizens running and jogging all the way down Campbell Drive, all the way to Campbell Drive Middle School. It was just great, and they were so excited. Our Homestead PD was out in force, Miami-Dade County FDOT, just so many of our, in fact, when I spoke, I said I felt very safe. I felt safer than I felt in a long time standing there. It was a great event, and as they were jogging, I was riding in a gator behind them, so I was cheering them on as they were running with the torch. Anyway, I want to thank everybody, and have a great, wonderful evening, and that's it for my business as well. Thank you very much, and this meeting is adjourned. I have to do that.